Alors, mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. De la part de l'OCDE, je suis très heureux d'être ici avec vous ce soir et je suis très honoré. Merci beaucoup, Jérôme et Isabelle, pour avoir organisé cette conférence très importante, très pertinente et urgente. Je suis aussi très heureux d'être avec Hugo Bassi, qui est un vieux ami. Peut-être nous sommes des amis vieillis, mais en tout cas, c'est très... je suis ravi. Et pour la suite, je m'excuse de parler en anglais et je vous remercie pour votre compréhension. So, ever since the Financial Stability Board, which was chaired by, is still chaired by Mark Carney, and you referred to his speech, but ever since this FSB started work on how to deal with the risks of climate change at the request of the G20 in April 2015, climate change has really been making steady progress on its way to becoming the mainstream agenda of financial regulators and supervisors. But I must say, this was long overdue. And in fact, I've been attending this FSB meeting, or a series of meetings since 2009. I still remember the first time we heard about the need for the FSB to work on the climate. It sounded to me a bit exotic to our core mission of financial stability, but then we were very much uneducated. Now this is really making headway. But then I should commend you, all of you institutional investors and asset managers. You have had this issue on your radar screen for a very long time, a much longer time. And by now I see that many countries are developing at government level and private sector level long-term low emission strategies. And this is really being conducted by now at the whole of government level. So the transition to a lower carbon economy and society has really started and gaining momentum, but now, as again you mentioned very appropriately, we need to accelerate this. We now recognize that this transition would need to be accelerated and reinforced through better investment strategies, enabling a deployment of more funds procured from financial markets. In response, we have witnessed a transformation in thinking and action by institutional investors and asset managers in recent years, and you're increasingly recognizing the potential impacts of climate risks on portfolio performance and on investment decision-making. At the same time, you see that climate change and climate action create new markets and investment opportunities, and again, I would like to really commend you for finding those opportunities. And as it was mentioned earlier, we at the OECD, we are very much confident that sustainable growth, sustainable development, they are consistent with climate action. Now, as again, Jerome and Isabel mentioned, the OECD has been undertaking this project to assess key challenges and opportunities for institutional investors in terms of integrating climate change, including in their governance, investment strategies, risk management and reporting arrangements, that is, integrating climate change in your daily work. This project has been conducted by the OECD's Center on Green Finance and Investment, and we launched this Center on Green Finance and Investment in 2016 to provide a global platform for engaging policymakers, investors, businesses, and civil society on green finance and investment. And we would like to make this center a reference point for everyone, businesses, academia, individuals interested in sustainable finance, that is, finance for sustainable growth and development. And again, I would like to thank Sven Capital Partners for providing valuable support to taking forward this project. And this project is really building on existing OECD work, notably our report on investment governance and the integration of environmental, social, and governance factors, prepared at the request of the French COP21 presidency in 2010. Actually, this previous report concluded that the integration of capital of climate change could be compatible with institutional investors' fiduciary and other responsibilities, but would also face practical implementation challenges. Despite emerging good practices, and we've already heard many today, the integration of climate factors into investment decisions and portfolio management faces practical, operational, and methodological obstacles, in addition to technical and other issues. Changes to the behavior of investors would not be straightforward. Investors can also face challenges linked to a shortage of climate-aligned benchmarks, common standards, and clear definitions. So the OECD is working with countries, investors, and corporations to address practical challenges in enabling investors to integrate climate change and other sustainability factors into their investment decisions. On the 8th of June this month, we held a multi-stakeholder workshop in Paris on integrating climate change into institutional investment challenges and opportunities. I thank you for your participation, and of course for everyone who have come to the OECD for this. This workshop brought together representatives from asset owners, asset managers, insurance and private pensions operators, financial supervisors and regulators, climate policymakers, and civil society, a long list of our stakeholders, to discuss emerging practices among institutional investors in integrating climate change. We also discussed, of course, the role of policymakers, and actually we heard from several policymakers what their challenges are in dealing with this issue. And we heard from those regulators that actually the legal and regulatory constraints they face when considering their role in this workspace would also be quite complex and in many cases not straightforward. Examples of recent policy initiatives, however, include the European Commission's recent action plan on financing sustainable growth, drawing on the recommendations of the EU high-level expert group, HLEG, on sustainable finance. We will hear more from Ugo about this. This will be a great pleasure. And the OECD really stands ready to support the efforts of everyone, institutional investors, in dealing properly with climate risks, integrating such factors into investment decision-making, obtaining necessary data and information. And we will draw on our network across all branches of government in its member countries to provide a space for all of us to get together and discuss relevant issues in a constructive manner. So we really want to pursue this dialogue and engage with you, the investor community, to further advance the project and through its Center on Green Finance and Investment. So thank you very much, and of course, wish you a bonne continuation. Merci beaucoup.
Mr. Kono, please. Thank you. Please. Thank you very much, Mr. Kono. Maybe one question. How can institutional investors and asset managers who wish to further integrate climate change implementation challenges, can you tell us, please?
Yes. Excuse me. In fact, I do have a list of things that you might like to do, like sharing your observations and experience, identifying emerging good practices. Actually, I should congratulate those of you who will be awarded later for your exceeding performance. And also, it is important to identify what data and metrics are needed, what data available, what are needed but not available, help address methodological issues, provide examples of climate scenario analysis, etc. But what I would really like to ask you today is to talk to your regulators and supervisors, give them your input, have them consider their proper role in facilitating your work towards integrating climate risk and other ESG risks, for that matter, into your portfolio management, into your decision making. And we will, at the OECD, like to provide some clues in doing this, and also, of course, provide a neutral space to discuss.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kono. Thank you. We will try to talk better with regulators, and it's clear that the studies carried out in cooperation between OECD and Swen Capital Partners perfectly aligns with European Commission's action plan. And so we are really lucky. As you have just mentioned, Mr. Kono, we have Hugo Bassi in the room tonight from the European Commission. And so it's with great pleasure I invite you to join us now on stage.